Okay, so get out your worksheet that says Lesson Worksheet 86A, and we're going to do that front side now. So it says Eric is 11 years old and Paul is 13 years old. How much older is Paul than Eric? Okay, so first we should probably underline, what are we trying to find out? How much older is Paul than Eric? Okay, then we go over to our little diagram. And we're trying to figure out how much older is Paul than Eric. Oh, maybe we better go back and bracket. Eric is 11 years old, and we can just do it like that. Paul is 13 years old. Okay? So, who's older? Who is the taller one? Who's the bigger? Right, Paul is. So you write Paul down below the tall rectangle. Okay? Then you go on the other, who's the other person we're comparing or talking about? Yes, Eric. Okay, so first you want to find out who's the, in this case, older and younger, so we need to fill that in. So the older person is Paul, we write that here. And then we write 13 because he is 13 years old. And then Eric is 11 years old. Okay, so we fill in that rectangle. And then we need to write our number sentence. Okay, you probably already know this in your head, what the difference is. Okay, but let's write it out in a number sentence. So 13 minus 11 equals 2. Okay, and what are we talking about? 2 years. Yes, very good. So the answer is, the question is, how much older is Paul than Eric? The answer is 2 years older. I adjusted the tripod so you can hopefully see better now. So we're talking about how much older is Paul than Eric. So Paul is the older one, so he goes in the biggest rectangle, and we write how old he is, 13 years old. And then we say Eric is who the other person we're trying to figure out. And so we put him on the other line. And we already know, they told us that Eric is 11. We bracketed that. And then we're trying to find out the difference. And so we would write our number sentence like this. Okay? So the difference is 2. He is 2 years older. Okay? So let's go to our next problem. It says Ida is 9 years old. Arlene is 5 years older than Ida. How old is Arlene? Okay, let's bracket and let's underline what we're trying to find out. So what are we trying to find out? Right, how old is Arlene? Okay, so that's the question we're trying to find out. Then we need to figure out what is the important information. Well, we need to know how old Ida is. Ida is 9, so we bracket that. And then here, this is a little bit different than this problem. We're saying Arlene is 5 years older than Ida. We need to know that whole information. Okay? So when we're talking, who are the two people we're comparing? Yep, Arlene and Ida. Okay? And so we know we're going to write their names here. That's who we're comparing. But we want to know, how old is Arlene? They didn't give us that this time. So that's what we're trying to figure out. But it says Arlene is 5 years older than Ida. So who's going to go in the big rectangle? Yes, Arlene is, because it says she is older. So we write her name underneath. And then we write Ida on the other line, because those are the two people we are comparing. All right. And then, do we know how old Arlene is? No, that's the question. That's what we're trying to find out. So we don't know this yet. This time they're having us kind of work backwards. But do we know how old Ida is? Yep, we bracketed it over here. Arlene is 9. Okay? And then it said, Ida. Sorry, boys and girls. Ida is 9 years old. Okay? Arlene is 5 years older than Ida. Do we put 5 in here? And the big one? No. They want us to think a little bit different this time. So no, that's not how old Arlene is. It says she is 5 years older than Ida. So this time, they gave us what the difference actually is. Okay, so they told us what the difference was this time. And we're trying to find out how much Arlene is, how many years Arlene is, how many years old she is. So this time, this is the question mark, isn't it? That's what we're trying to find out. Okay? Now, boys and girls, when they make the chart like this, or their diagram like this means that's the total of what these two would be together. Okay, so is this going to be a subtraction problem like up here? No, you are right, Elsie. It is not a subtraction problem. This time it's an addition problem. Okay, so we're going to take how old Ida is, so 9, plus the difference, because we know that Arlene is 5 years older, so we're going to go 9 plus 5 equals, what is it, Elsie? Right, 14. So these two numbers in what we put in the diagram will give us our answer. So how old is Arlene? Arlene is 14 years old. And so if we put the 14 over here, so Arlene's the older one. It said she was 5 years older than Ida. And Ida was 9. She's the younger one. And we know that the difference was 5. Okay? So we have to add those two together to figure out how old Arlene is. All right? So we have to really stop and think about these. Okay, they can get a little tricky, but I know you can do it. All right, and then the last one here, okay, the last one says Nicole is 4 years younger than Marissa. Marissa is 7 years old. How old is Nicole? Okay, first thing we need to do is underline in brackets. So what are we trying to find out? How old is Nicole, right? Okay, then we need to figure out what is the important information. Yeah, that whole first sentence. Nicole is 4 years younger than Marissa. And then Marissa is 7. And you could do the 7 years old if you wanted, but Marissa's 7. You have that in your head. Okay, now who or what are we comparing? Right, we're comparing Marissa to Nicole. Now, we want to know, can we which way should we put our names? The Marissa and Nicole names. Okay, Marissa is 7 years old and Nicole is 4 years younger than Marissa. So is Nicole going to go here? Nope, it said she is 4 years younger. So Nicole is going to go here. And then Marissa is the older one. She would go here. All right. Now, it said Marissa is 7. So we can put 7 in here. Do we know how old Nicole is? Nope, that's what we're trying to figure out. How old is Nicole? So then the other number we have is the difference. Nicole is 4 years younger than Marissa. So we put the 4 in the difference box. We're trying to figure out, this is what we want to know. We want to know how old is Nicole. So then we would take, okay, are we going to add or subtract there? How do we figure that out? Okay, the total is 7. The bigger rectangle is 7. These two rectangles need to equal that rectangle. So we would make a subtraction problem, right? Okay, so 7 minus 4 equals, how old is Nicole? Right, she is 3 years old. Okay, so then Nicole would be 3 we would put there. All right, now boys and girls, you have a backside to this worksheet. Work those problems out, see what you can do, and then we'll discuss it probably again next time. But just keep practicing and stop and think each step of the way. All right, good job.